permit panel process, or are we going to deal with that ahead of time?
Through the chair to Councillor Day, we are talking about the property to the east of the subject site. That property has already been developed, so there are townhouses in there already. So fire department wants to have an open access to the neighboring property for emergency purposes. And we will confirm the requirements for fire department as part of the DP process.
Because I'm sorry to interrupt, go ahead, I apologize. Because it's the lot that I'm worried about accessing later on, and potentially further down is 10880 La Sam Road. So that one is not part of this process at this time, but there could be, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 townhouses there later.
Oh, yes, so that is to the northwest corner of the subject site.
Correct.
And at this time, fire department do not have any requirement to have access to that site through the subject site. In the future, when the property on Larsam is redeveloped, the driveway will be opened up from the subject site. Okay,
well, more to come. Well, I'm ready to let it go to the next level. Thank you.
Basically, I have 2 questions. The first one is on PLN page 12. On the top of the page, you mentioned that this is a medium density townhouses with a maximum density of 0.65 FAR. It seems to be 2 contradictory concepts to me. So can you elaborate further? You know, this is being a medium density, yet it's a maximum density of 0.65 FAR.
Through the chair to Councillor Au, our zoning bylaw have some standard townhouse zones. Density 0.6 FAR or below is low density, and the density between 0.65 to 0.7 we consider medium density. And so under the zone that we are proposing, the maximum density is 0.65.
So this is still regarded as medium density zone?
Yes.
Yes, through the chair, if I may add, the provision of up to the 0.65 density is also supported through the provision of photovoltaic solar panels on the rooftop of the buildings, as well as incentive. They're also providing the 7 secondary suites and a number of accessible units in support of that 0.6 to 0.65 FAR.
Okay, good. My second question is on PLN 15. 17. There's a variance request. In the first one, staff mentioned that, it's supported, provided, or on the condition that there's an appropriate interface with neighboring properties. So, is staff confident that this can be met, this condition? Or, if at the end it cannot be met, would it be brought back to council, or, it will be dealt with at the DP stage?
Yes, through the chair to Councillor Au, staff are confident that any remaining details of the landscaping and the interface in that space can be addressed through the development permit panel. So staff are recommending support for it moving forward.
So in case it cannot be worked out, will this be brought back to council?
If it were unsuccessful at a development permit panel and required additional changes, it could return to the development permit panel for further changes there. In terms of the use and moving it forward to public hearing, that would be at council's discretion.
Okay. Okay, good.
You okay?
Thank you. Yeah.
Anything?
I'm okay.
No. Okay. There's no other speakers, so I'll move the recommendation. Second, okay, we have enough discussion to move forward. All those in favor, contrary, carry. Thank you very much. Okay, the next item is an application by Hardy Gill for the rezoning of 330 Granville Avenue from single detached RS1E zone to a single detached RS2B zone, and the recommendation that be introduced and given first reading. And we got Laurel Ayton and Suzanne again. So, Laurel?
Hello. Just provide some brief notes on the application. So the applicant proposes to rezone 3300 Granville Avenue from the single detached RS1E zone to the single detached RS2B zone in order to subdivide the existing single-family property into 2 single-family lots, each with vehicle access from Granville Avenue. This proposal complies with the property's designation in the official community plan and the applicable single-family lot size policy. The applicant proposes to construct a minimum 1-bedroom secondary suite with a minimum size of 37 square meters or 400 square feet on each of the 2 proposed subdivided lots. Of the 11 bylaw size trees on the subject property, 1 bylaw size tree, a Korean fir, is to be retained and protected. 1 bylaw size tree, a Japanese maple, is to be retained and relocated on site. And 8 of the 9 trees are proposed for removal due to their condition, either dying or with structural defects due to historical topping. 1 tree proposed for removal is located in the middle of the development site and not a good candidate for relocation due to its size. 1 tree on the neighboring property to the west is also proposed for retention and protection, as well as 1 undersized tree on the subject site to propose for retention and protection. There are 4 trees on city property, of which 1 is recommended for retention. The other 3 are recommended for removal due to their condition and/or conflict with the construction of the proposed sidewalk and driveways and are therefore recommended for removal. The applicant proposes to plant 10 trees, 5 replacement trees on each new lot, and pay cash in lieu for the remaining replacement trees. I'm available to answer questions.
Okay. We're okay? All right, I'll move the recommendation. It's moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, contrary, carried. Thank you very much, Laura. Suzanne. The next is an application by Matthew Cheng for rezoning at 7300 St. Albans Road from a single detached RS1E zone to the high-density townhouses zone. And that recommendation is to be introduced and given first reading. And we have Ashley Kwan and Josh. Okay. Ashley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Staff does not have any additional comments to provide, but will highlight a few points. This application is to rezone 1 single detached RS1E lot to high-density townhouse RTH1 to facilitate the development of 4 townhome units with 1 secondary suite. Vehicle access will be provided from St. Albans Road. The property currently contains an unoccupied single-family dwelling, and 2 trees are proposed to be retained. Consistent with the city's affordable housing strategy, the applicant is required to provide a cash in lieu contribution to the city's Affordable Housing Reserve Fund. In addition, the developer has proposed to construct a 1-bedroom secondary suite. The developer has also proposed 1 convertible unit, which is capable of being easily converted to this suite to suit the needs of occupants with mobility challenges. A servicing agreement is required for the design and construction of the required frontage improvements and servicing connections. Refinement of the design of this project, including landscaping, will be further reviewed at the development permit stage. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, I'm going to go to, thank you. I'm going to go to Councillor Wolf, who's online first. So can we open up the lines for you? Councillor Wolf, go ahead. Are we connected? Hello?
Yes.
There he is. I can't hear you, Michael. Okay, let's try again. I can't, no connection. Hang on. Time out. Okay, we're going to try to connect with you. No? Okay, we'll go, okay, Carol, let's go with you. So we go on, as soon as we make contact with him, we'll get him back on.
Okay.
Okay,
Love
go
it.
ahead.
Love this technology. Okay, so this is city center. Why would we want to have such a small development, when I understand that St. Albans Church is also interested in redeveloping, which is of course a much, much larger lot. Has there been any talk of combining this with a potential future development at St. Albans Church?
Through the chair to Councillor Day, there hasn't been any discussion directly with the church and the subject applicant on the redevelopment of their site. The church is designated as a community institutional use. This site is a standalone site designated for townhouses. What is put before committee today is consistent with all of the policies.
Okay, so there's been no discussion with St. Albans? Like, they haven't come to the city, because I know they've come to me.
Through the chair to Councillor Day, we have had some preliminary discussions with the church about redevelopment of the subject site. Those conversations were probably a year or two ago at this point in time. We have not had any recent conversations with them.
Last question is it logical to assume that if a proposal came forward for a higher density, maybe with affordable housing on the St. Albans site, we would be supportive of that change of zoning?
Yes.
Hard to say.
Okay.
Through the chair to Councillor Day, in terms of the St. Albans Church, there is existing policy that would support redesignation and consideration of higher density for purpose-built rental housing, especially affordable rental housing. In terms of the church site itself, I would say that the site geometry does lend itself to being redeveloped independently of the subject development site. With respect to conversations regarding the church property, one of the buildings on the church property is a designated heritage resource. Our conversations with respect to redevelopment of that site have focused around how to potentially integrate the retention of the heritage structure as part of any densification.
So it's a little more complicated than I thought. Okay, well, let's put this through the public hearing and see where it takes us. I'm a little concerned that we're either A, not going high enough because it is city center, or B, if this is all we're going to do, we're going to overshadow the townhouses on the east side. So I don't look at this as being an ideal development for this site, but I'd like to see what the public have to say. Thank you.
Okay. Jack, anything? Okay, we get through to Michael now, if we can.
Mr. Chair, Councillor Wolf texted us his message. His question is if staff would elaborate on the unauthorized use of unauthorized tree removal mentioned on page 89. How did we find out? Are there any fines?
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf. One conifer tree located in the front yard of the property was removed without authorization. The owner has indicated that the tenant at that time gave unauthorized permission to remove the tree without the owner's knowledge. 2 fines of $1,000 each has been issued to the property owners and has been paid. In addition, the applicant is voluntarily providing a 4-to-1 tree replacement ratio for the unpermitted removal of the conifer, which is above and beyond the typical replacement requirement.
Okay, so he's made reparation. Okay, hopefully that answers Councillor Wolf's question. Okay, anything else from committee?
Through the chair.
I'm sorry.
With respect to the tree removal, I would also just reference that the tree removal that occurred happened well in advance of this application being submitted to the city. The enforcement action took place prior to the application being submitted in response to the unauthorized removal.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Okay, well beyond. Okay, I'd move that to be introduced and given first reading. Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Contrary carried. Thank you both. Okay, and the last item is a housing agreement bylaw 10484 to permit the city of Richmond to secure affordable housing units of city-owned land at 4831 Stephenson Highway as part of the Rapid Housing Initiative program. And we're to hopefully have it to be introduced first, second, and third readings. And Chris is here to anything to add or?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have nothing to add, but happy to answer.
All right, nothing to add. Questions? This is standard, isn't it? Basically what we're doing.
Yes.
Standard application. All right, well, I'd move that we put it on the floor.
Second.
Second, any further discussion? We'll see the legal agreement when the time comes. All right, seeing none, call the question. All those in favor? Contrary, carried. Thank you very much. All right, anything on managers for the public? And the public? Okay, let's do the public, and then we'll stay for a few minutes after with a few of us.
To Mr. Chair.
Mr. Cooper.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'd like to announce that we've been advised by the court-appointed monitor for the atmosphere site that they're very confident a building permit application will be coming at the end of November.
Wow, at last.
At last.
Thank you. Okay. All right.
We'd also like to make a couple of very brief announcements. October 1st to 7th is being celebrated as Positive Aging Week here in Richmond to celebrate seniors, promote healthy aging, and to reduce ageism. The city's annual Diversity Symposium, which will take place from October 23rd to 27th, is currently open for registration on the city website. And finally, the Child Care and Health, Social and Safety Grants are also currently accepting applications and open until October 18th at 5 p.m.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good news. Okay. Thank you very much. Anything else for the good of planning?
Recording stopped.
Recording is stopped, so we are adjourned. Move second. All those in favor.